You know him, right? He's one of TV's most famous sidekicks, but there is so much more to Morty Smith than meets the eye. Today, we are going deep, peeling back the layers on the character we meet in the very first season of Rick and Morty. So what's really going on behind that yellow shirt? Let's find out.
At first glance, yeah, he's just a nervous teenager, constantly getting yanked into some new chaos by his grandpa. But what if that's not the whole story? And that kind of leads us to the central question we're tackling here. Is Morty Smith just a bumbling sidekick, or is he something way, way more important? Like a cosmic key to the entire universe?
To even begin to answer that, we have to start with the Morty everyone thinks they know. So let's first break down that surface-level stereotype that gets set up in those first few wild adventures.
Okay, let's set the stage. Our Morty is 14 years old. He's from what the show calls his prime dimension, and honestly, for all intents and purposes, he's just a regular kid. This is our baseline. This is the starting point for what becomes one of the craziest character arcs in modern animation.
And this is so much more than just a catchphrase. It's practically his theme song. Aw, geez, Rick. It perfectly captures his default setting in that first season, you know? Anxious, totally overwhelmed, and just reacting to whatever cosmic horror his grandfather has cooked up this time. It's the sound of things, yet again, going completely off the rails.
So yeah, the initial picture we get is pretty clear. He's anxious, he's meek, and he's mostly just a follower. His biggest problem, outside of interdimensional monsters, is his crush on his classmate, Jessica. He's basically designed to be the perfect, passive character to just be dragged along for the ride.
But here's the thing. Almost right away, the show starts dropping these little hints that there's more going on under the surface. So let's look at the first few cracks that start to appear in this simple facade.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The common perception, right, is that Morty is kind of dumb, just a simple-minded follower. But the reality, even this early on, is totally different. He consistently shows this moral outrage at Rick's insane actions, and he has these flashes of unexpected insight that catch everyone, especially Rick, completely off guard.
And check this out. This is a perfect example. It seems like a small detail, but it is hugely significant. He once beat Rick Sanchez, the guy who calls himself the smartest man in the universe, in a simple game of checkers. Now, that's not just a throwaway gag. It's a deliberate signal from the writers that Morty has a kind of intelligence that Rick just consistently fails to see.
Okay, so he's smarter than he looks. But that's one thing. What really begins to reshape Morty isn't intelligence, it's trauma. And there is no bigger, more important turning point in the entire first season than the episode Rick Potion 9.
I mean, just look at this chain of events. It starts with a simple love potion for his crush, and it spirals into a global disaster that turns everyone on Earth into these hideous monsters. And when they can't fix it, Rick's solution is to just leave, abandon their entire reality, their family, their home, everything. Then they have to go to a new dimension, find their own dead bodies, and bury them in the backyard. The psychological weight of that is just immense.
This is the moment. This is where everything just completely flips. This is not an adventure you just walk away from. Morty's role fundamentally shifts from a simple sidekick to a character who is actively being shaped by some really profound trauma. You know that 1,000-yard stare he has at the end of the episode? That is the look of someone who can never, ever go back to being a normal kid.
And as if that wasn't already enough to deal with, the season then drops another absolute bombshell, revealing that Morty's importance isn't just personal, it's cosmic.
The one true Morty? I mean, what does that even mean? In the episode Close Rick Counters of the Rick Kind, our Morty gets called this, hinting at some kind of destiny that goes way beyond just being Rick's grandson.
So, what's the deal here? Well, the episode reveals this dark conspiracy that involves thousands of Mortys from all across the multiverse. And right in the middle of all this chaos, our Morty gets singled out. He's called the one true Morty, which plants this seed, this idea that he isn't just a Morty, he's somehow essential to the very fabric of the cosmos.
Okay, so this all leads us to the big question, our final and most crucial point. Why does Morty even exist in this story? What is his true purpose within the show's actual design?
The key word here, really, is counterbalance, a force that balances or offsets another. And in a story with a character like Rick Sanchez, who's this massive, chaotic force of nature, a counterbalance isn't just helpful, it's absolutely necessary.
And that is Morty's ultimate purpose. On one side, you've got Rick's cosmic nihilism and his reality-bending chaos, and on the other, you have Morty's innocence,
his empathy, and his vulnerability. See, he's not just Rick's grandson. He is the essential human anchor in a storm of cosmic indifference. This whole dynamic is what makes the show work. It grounds the infinite, terrifying chaos of the universe in a relatable human emotion.
So, here's the big takeaway. Morty is not just a sidekick. He's not just comic relief. His entire character, his goodness, his fear, his growing strength, it's a fundamental and necessary part of the show's core design. Without Morty, Rick is just an untethered force of pure destruction.
Which leaves us with one last, kind of mind-blowing question to think about. If this is the complex foundation they built, the trauma, the hidden intelligence, the cosmic destiny, and it's all there in just the first season, who or what does Morty Smith ultimately become?